What's up, everyone? We're back Wednesday night, 21st February, doing back-to-back college hoops up to lock shows with my guy Kurt here. Kurt, how did yesterday go for you? I actually like doing the show on the up to lock. It's good to kind of talk through things. We missed one big piece of news though, which was hurtful. You know, we were kind of looking for that cheap guy to use yesterday. Much different slate tonight. How did everything go for you yesterday? What did you think about the slate?
Everything went awesome. I think I went pretty heavy today. I'm having to rerun stuff, so I'll be in and out, but I'll try to multitask here because I decided to do it 150. So also I can give a look at like what I have exposure wise. But yeah, it was a good day yesterday. Usually Wednesdays are tougher. I like Tuesdays more, but I think it's one of my favorite slates in a long time, but usually that's bad. But it's one of my great slates. So hopefully I can give good advice and help you all, and then maybe just fuck myself.
Yeah, it's a really good slate. I like this slate more than I liked yesterday's slate, Kurt, just because we have trustable value under 5K. Yeah. I always like that because I prefer the stars and scrubs method more than playing in the mid-range. We've got viable options for both here. I've got our current projections up. Cap is working on an update to Miami because Matt Cleveland might be out. So we just got that news from Majeski, and we just want to be prepared on that spot there in case he's out, Kurt. But let's kind of run through overall slate thoughts here. I guess mine are I like the studs more than I did yesterday, just because we have Providence and we've got Sears and we've got Khalil Ware and guys like that. So I like the studs more. Ace Baldwin's back on the slate with no Clary. Why don't you talk about just kind of overall slate thoughts first?
Yeah, I don't like that first game much at all. I think you can definitely fade that. I love the Miami game, as I usually do. I love stacking Miami. They've gone through injuries all year, but they're going to run those guys. And if you avoid fouls, you're literally going to get like 30-plus minutes at good price tags. George is just an absolute lock for me. I think you can play another one of those guys too. But even if Cleveland plays, George is a lock for me. Don't care. The guy's so young and good, and he's just so long and tall. And I like him long and tall. And then you got like just a couple banger games: Florida, Bama, UK, LSU. I feel like I'm mostly just focused on those spots and then playing the studs from the Providence game. But it's really just those three games I'm even looking at, to be honest. Maybe one or two like layoffs here, but I'm mostly focused on those three games.
Yeah, we have some big totals here. Some different ways to play it. You can do some game stacking. We believe that. So the big news is going to be Cleveland, and then the other big news is we got a tip from a friend that Bama's going to be without Latrell Wrightsell tonight. So our projections reflect that, which is why you'll see Estrada, Griffin, and Sears all projected really, really well here. Kurt, we were talking before we went live. They'll probably have to start one of the cheap forwards. I think it might be Pringle, but I think, Pringle, Stevenson, all those guys could play 15 to 20 minutes. Picking the right one's going to be tough, but if you're playing a bunch of lineups, I don't mind it at all. I mean, they're so cheap with a team total of 93. So got to really like the Bama guys here. Do you have any lean on the cheap guys? And then thoughts on like Estrada and Griffin getting extra minutes here?
For the cheap guys, just whichever one starts for Miami. And then I even think if you want to get crazy, you can play the bench guy. But I'm going to go with the starter, whichever one they go with. For Bama, I don't think you need to do the roulette with their forwards. But if you are forced into it or you're doing a game stack, I like Stevenson the most. I think the kid has talent. Just needs to knock down a couple of threes, just like Walters too. But I just like Stevenson more. I think he's more versatile. I feel like there's no real you're playing Georgia and you play another one of those Miami guys. You're not really needing much value. Later on, we can see what Kentucky does, and then you got Deloach, and then who Xavier starts. Mm-hmm. But starting out, I'm just focused on those guys for the cheap value, and then Keller obviously too. Keller's going to be the chalk, but we don't need too many values, and I just gave out like 4 or 5, and those are basically the only 4 or 5 that I'll probably be running in mine. Griffin too. I mean, Griffin's technically cheap.
Yeah, I like Griffin a lot. When we got that news, I bet the PRA overs for Griffin and Estrada, alt over for Estrada they had on DK. Just a really, really good spot for Bama overall. Real quick before this first game locks, why don't you talk a bit about this game and if you like anything in this first window? It does have a big total. I'm not finding myself getting too much. I put in the playbook. Terry Shannon, since he's come back, has been awesome, but a bit more scoring reliant than I like above 8K. I kind of like Ace Baldwin over him without Clary. He was playing all 40 minutes. I think he had 3 straight games with 40 plus DK. I think Ace Baldwin's a pretty interesting, like, contrarian stud here. Do you have anything in the early game or no?
Yeah, if you want to play the game with like Terry Shannon or Ace Baldwin, I could see one of them maybe getting there, but I think I just want to wait. If you're running a lot, I think I'm going to end up getting like 10% Shannon. I think of what I'm giving myself, and then Baldwin, I think like 5%, but nothing crazy there. I think Jamel Brown, if he chucks threes, if you want a good cheap guy, like we saw Hauser come out the gate as a shooter and somehow got there. So that would probably be Brown of the slate, but a lot more risky.
I think Zach Hicks is an interesting play too.
Yeah.
We've seen him play really well without Clary, just getting the extra shots. And like you said, he takes up a forward spot. Forward is very top heavy on the slate. We've got a bunch of studs in great spots, as you see here with the projections. We've got Amir, we've got Oduro, Filipowski. Who else is up there? Where I like more than the projections do at 8-3 there, Kurt. The issue with Ware is that Renew is one of the best plays on the entire slate at 6-1, just severely underpriced there. So, like, do you really want to play double IU forward?
Exactly.
Is the question there. But, yeah, so forward's tough overall. I'm going to be playing Renew. I'm playing 3 lineups in everything tonight. I'm going to be playing Renew in all 3. My core is up. I believe Kurt's core was up at 7 a.m. Eastern today.
You know it, baby. I'm not changing it either.
Yeah.
You're right.
DFix asking about Deloach exposure. I put in the playbook. I was talking with Gavin this morning. Gavin kind of thinks that was a matchup start that Deloach got there. I think with the news that we're getting here, Kurt, I like the other cheap guys more. Like
that's exactly where I'm at.
We're going to get a cheap starter for Miami if Cleveland's out. We're going to get a cheap starter for Bama, and we might get a cheap starter for Xavier. So we haven't talked about that yet, Kurt. Do you want to touch on that real quick with the center from Xavier?
Yeah, so basically just took in and stole Usmani's lunch. If he starts, I think it's only if he starts. It's so sketchy if he doesn't. Like, what if Usmani comes back and has a good game? So if you want to maybe leave 2 or 3 spots to where you can maneuver off of him, I think that's fine. But I would definitely have a plan of action for what you're wanting to do. Because if he starts, one of the best players on the slate. If he doesn't start, very sketchy, probably would only play him in lineups that are dead type of thing. Is how I'd approach the center. NZ, is how we saying his name?
Yeah. I think it's Enza, but yeah, Enza. So I think his minutes range is like probably like 5 to low 20s.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially if he doesn't start. But like he looked really good last game. They've been searching for someone to have that spot, like basically the entire season. They've rotated those Euros with Siani and Nameska and like all these losers. And they gave the start to, or not the start, but they gave minutes to this freshman last time he played really well. Sorry, we just got news that Tyrese Proctor is warming up. So that's going to kill the Caleb Foster play. Which changes a lot. Yeah, I'm going to make that note in the playbook here. So off of Foster if Proctor is back. I'm going to make him orange in the playbook for us here. So, Kurt, does that do anything for you besides get you off of Foster? I think Duke is probably just like in a void now besides Filipowski. We should talk about that. What are your thoughts on Filipowski here? Obviously going to project well.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think he still has a low – like, he's going to have to – Miami doesn't have that much of an interior, but, like, Amir's nothing. I mean, he can get you in foul trouble. So, and it's on the road, but the boom potential is just so nice. I would just not be, just know how there is like uncertainties about it. And if he goes for like 22, be ready to pivot on to some guys with much higher upside than 9 p.m. wave.
Yeah,
I can't decide on him in my main yet. So
I'm not playing him on main.
Okay,
he's got one game over 30 since the 23rd. It's just tough, right? Like he's priced near some really, really good plays that we love. He's got a bunch of competition. Proctor being back tonight, adds another high usage guy. It's just like with everyone healthy there, it's tougher for him to get there. Like he has to have huge scoring games because McCain has just been like rebounding his ass off. Same with Mitchell. So like they're just less pass for him to crush now than there were a couple weeks ago. So that's kind of where I'm at there. Off of Duke, outside of some Filipowski, but I don't think he's like a core must play, anything like that. Let's look real quick at the 7 p.m. Eastern locks. Kurt, I think it's the same as last night. We've got 5 of them locking. We just talked about Duke, Miami. Do you want to give any last thoughts there on Duke, Miami before we move on?
Yeah, I just got my exposure for that game, and it's like 3 Miami every lineup. So that's just for MME. I don't advise that in main. I think 2 is fine. But on the Duke side,
I think you can play 3 in a main if you play the cheap guy who starts.
Yeah. I mean, George is just a lock for me. Like, I don't care. If he fouls again, I don't care. You know my saying, boys. I will go out and play basketball. Okay? I will live and die by George. I'll live and die by the talent. For under 6K, when he is forced to play every freaking – when a guy that long and athletic is and who's going to be ball handling? He's going to be doing all the ball handling for Nigel Pack. Luka Poplar cannot facilitate. He can catch, shoot, and get off the dribble. He cannot create and facilitate. I'm sorry.
Bensley Joseph, too, who's awesome last
game. He can do some of the playmaking, but I feel like he doesn't – he won't go and get the ball. Because he can do the playmaking, but he's not going to go and force and be like facilitator. He's very hands-off and will attack when he gets the ball and stuff like that. Every time I bring up the court is going to be Kaishan George. But do you make a great point if you don't want to play George or you can't fit it? I don't know if Benz is more expensive too. So God, fuck Bensley Joseph. That guy sucks. But if you're gonna play a lot, I just like George more. I think he's taller. I like tall guys. That's all I'm saying. So pray no fouls.
Yeah, and we're gonna get a cheap starter there, like we said. So keep an eye out for that. An eye out for news. Let's keep it moving here. Let's talk about some of the bad games in the early lock. Let's talk about St. John's, Georgetown there. Do you have any interest in this game? I talked a bit about in the playbook with Bettino and all his, I'll call them quotes from Sunday. I kind of don't really have
my God,
as to what's going to happen here. So basically, if you're not plugged in, he basically shit on his entire team, calling them unathletic, bad defenders. Like, doesn't know why he recruited them. So any thoughts on this game here? I know that you have Jaden Epps in your core. That's a bit off the wall here.
Yeah, if you go and look, like when Jaden Epps has played these teams who you can kind of score on, he's had good games. And when he's played tougher opponents, most of the time he's done bad. So he is the highest usage player for Georgetown. If the game's close up and down, I don't see how he doesn't get 34, 35. It's just one of those things. So it is off the wall. I think it's going to be low owned, especially with all the news now. Like, it's going to be more low owned. But I'm staying on it. I'm sticking to it. I don't want to come off because I don't want to be able to stairs where I swap off and he gets 40. So we're going at it. Low owned, Jaden Epps.
Yeah, I think he's an okay play. I don't want to touch St. John's here on a 12-game slate. Do you have any thoughts there? Like, we've got Soriano at 7-3, which is cheap, and he's a forward. I think he's the best play there. I think that what I took the most out of those quotes were him trying to fire up Soriano, who's kind of been pretty shitty in conference play. And, he was supposed to be an all-conference guy, and he's just kind of sucked. So I think the Soriano stuff was motivation-based. The rest of the rotation, I think he could literally start anyone here, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
Any
extremely
thoughts there
sketchy.
on?
So, I mean,
Yeah.
if you're doing like 100 plus lineups, like Lewis, Soriano, stuff like that, but I cannot for the life of me do that. And even if you're doing 5 to 20, well, 20 maybe Soriano and Lewis, but 5, it's tough. It depends. Like if you really believe in Soriano, I think if it is, then you want to bounce back. I think Soriano is one of the guys that takes it personal and will come out fired up. I don't think he'll be a guy that hangs his head off that news. I can't really speak for the other guys, but based off what I've seen, I don't know freaking Soriano personally, but I feel like he's the one that will take it more personally than the others.
Yeah.
Come on, do something about it.
All right, let's talk about Oklahoma State Cincy real quick. So this game's in the early window. That's kind of surprising to me. I actually thought it was a later game before I just pulled it up. We've got the core play here. Oklahoma State's season is in the shitter, so they're turning to freshman guard Jamiron Keller. Got his, he had been playing good minutes off the bench. Got his first start last time out. Went 8 of 8 from the field. He's not going to put up what he did last time, but at 4-4, he played 38 minutes. Kurt, how much Keller are you playing? Are you just going to lock him?
I got 55 right now. I think I'm going to have like 75 in my hand builds. So,
yeah, so I'm playing 3. I'm going to have him on all 3 for sure. Just kind of hard for me to get away from on this slate. Like, if we had him last night, he would have been just a stone cold lock.
Yeah,
like he's the exact type of play that we were searching for yesterday. So I like that. Is there anything else from this game that you like? I see that we have a huge projection on Skillings. I just haven't gotten a feel for Cincy basically all season. So feel weird jumping in now, but I do get that he does have a huge projection.
I'm kind of with you there. Like if you've been a guy that's been riding Skillings, I think you keep riding him, especially if he continues to start over Big Vic or Big Vlad. I don't know whatever Lawkins' first name is. He's gonna. I could see him crushing and killing me again here today, but I've not been on it, so I don't want to jump on when the wheels fall off. So I'm not going to be on it. If you've been riding him, keep doing it.
Yeah. All right, we have 2 more games in the early winter to touch on. Let's go to Clemson, Georgia Tech. We've been riding Jack Clark ever since he was shoved in the lineup. He does take that forward spot. I think that is probably the best thing I can say about him here at that price. Not a priority play anymore at 6K, but I think that he's in play at least, especially if you're playing a bunch of lineups. Any thoughts on Clark? And then I don't really have anything else from this game here.
I think PJ Hall is fine if you're doing like 100 lineups. I would keep him in the pool, but Clark, we know the wheels are going to fall off eventually. Like the foul game's going to come. He's going to come down and hit his head. We know that what's happened with Clark for so many years. And 6K, we've seen so many times. Like the dude has like 2 concussions, but I played him sometime last year or the year before, so I'm not taking that risk at 6K. Bay and Dongo's priced up now too. Like,
what about Miles Kelly? So he's had 3 games like above 40 DK in the last 5, and he's fouled in the other 2. I think I have not gotten him right all season. I know Gavin had probably would have 2 seats right now if Miles Kelly didn't fuck him on one of his slates. Gavin, you can remind us there in the chat. But yeah, so any thoughts on Kelly here? He does have big upside for like at 7K. I just really like Griffin there. I really like Jordan Wright at that same price.
Yeah, there's just absolutely no chance. We've not got these Georgia Tech guard. We've not got the guards right in past 3 years. So no, there's just too many good plays. If he goes for 40 and beats it, the thing is, like I had guys I didn't have yesterday just absolutely nuke, and I still had a great day. So if Kelly goes off, I'm fine. I don't care. Fuck it. If you played him.
Well, no, yeah. I just think that the other guys in that range can beat him even if he has a good game.
Easily.
Like you said.
Yes. Exactly. So
all right. Let's go to the last game in this window, Florida-Bama. You said that you're going to have big exposure to this one. Let's start with the Florida side because I think the Florida side's tougher. They run a deep rotation, so they usually run 2 bigs at a time. Bama wants to play small with 4 guards. Any thoughts there? And then Florida, like for me, Pullen is a good play, but is a bit overpriced. I think Tyrese Samuel is really interesting for tournaments in the qualifier. Super volatile, fouls a lot, but when he doesn't foul, he can just have huge ass games here. and Bama, they might have Grant Nelson on them. So,
yeah, I mean, it's becoming one of my favorite DVPs of the season is Bigs versus Alabama. The thing is, Florida has like 4 of the top 50 bigs in the country. So, like, I mean, you got Handlogan, you got Samuel, you got Thomas Howell, who's apparently a god now, and Condon, who's been playing great all year. They got 4 guys who could really go off here. And Samuel's probably the most safe, but you're paying that. I did 100 lineups. I don't know if you guys are out there too. I did a rule of not more than 1, which I could still see 1 going off, but I do want 1 in like 50% of my lineups. Just Bama just cannot guard the bigs. Like Grant Nelson he's basically a glorified small forward, to be honest. Freaking Larry Bird looking ass. I do like him tonight though. Speaking of Grant Nelson, let me get my stuff uploaded and then I'll hit back on some more Bama plays.
Yeah. So Bama for me, touched on it at the top of the show. I think the guards are the elite plays here. Estrada, Griffin, Sears, just awesome plays. Sears is priced really close to the Providence guys, which scares me a bit. I really like Estrada and Griffin. I think you can play both. Kurt, I think you would agree that you can play 2 Bama here and be just fine. The forwards I'm kind of scared of, but they're so cheap. Like people are going to be playing the cheap starter for Miami. People are going to be playing the Xavier kid. Bama's going to start either Pringle or Stevenson, I think. Stevenson's 3.3K, so he's like the same price as those cheap guys. I think he's fine too. We know Gavin likes him some Jaron Stevenson, so I don't mind that. I think that's fine. I think even if Stevenson doesn't start, Kurt, I think he can play 20 minutes here and pay off that salary and just an awesome game. So I think you're going to have like 4 to 5 Bama guys that are in play. But my strong lean is the Griffin and Estrada core. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you play 3 Miami, like 2 Bama. I think that's perfectly fine. Estrada is still too cheap. Like Steer, my rule, I know you had the rule of one of the guards. I would have the same rule, but adding Grant Nelson. I think he's going to have to be forced to take in more shots. He probably fouls here, but if somehow he doesn't, I think he shoots like 8 threes. So yeah. And then also, we know he's probably going to foul, but if he doesn't, I cored Travis Samuel. I put him in my core over since everyone has the obvious values. I went ahead and cored him over Foster, who I had in. So boom.
Dane in the chat is asking if you're okay with Renault and Kalel Ware together. I'm okay with it just because of forward. I'm a bit.
That's a 150. That's 100. That's 100 lineup play. There's too many good plays now. That's 100 lineup play. That's like if your opto does it, fine. But
I will say Nebraska pretty tough inside. I think they're top 20 in 2-point percentage defense on Ken Palm. So not in love with it, but I think it's okay. All right, let's kind of do what we did last night and talk about the tiers. I'll let you go first. Let's do 8K and above. We got a bunch of studs on this slate, guys that we've been jamming in all year.
Yeah.
Do you have some favorite plays above 8K?
I think it's very obviously one of the Providence guys against Xavier. Pace up game. So Carter Aduru first, and then as far as like floor goes, I don't think there's a second. I think it's Sears too. I think those 3, and then like there is a lower floor on all the other guys for foul reasons, stuff like that. And then O'Meara probably 2. Like if he avoids fouls, I think he's just going to walk into like 15 and 15. So there's that. Do I go flip? I guess I do go flip 3. And then I really don't want to mess with these other. Wow, God, McCain with the price up. Holy moly, he got so priced up. I'm not even looking at him. That's great. You love to see it. And like I said, I don't mind Ware, but I'm going
on a Saturday show though.
Yeah. Oh Jesus, I'm going 100% renew, so I just don't want to have Ware in a lot of my hand builds. Maybe my optimizer gave it to me. I don't know, but I'm not doing that in hand builds. Jenkins is too high for me.
Yeah, I like if we get Cleveland out, I like O'Meara. I think Oduro is the best spend on the slate, like Oduro / Carter. I want to have one of those guys in most lineups just because we have good value. So, I don't mind paying all the way up for those 2 guys. Like I put in the playbook, the best DFS assets in college hoops, as Gav always says on the Saturday shows. So yeah, like we have good value. Do not mind using them at all. Just finalize my 3 lineups. So 8K plus. I think I rank them Carter / Oduro 1, Omir 2 if Cleveland's out, Sears 3, Ace Baldwin 4, and Khalil Ware 5. I think that's where I'm at. I'm trying to decide if I want to play an Ace Baldwin. I just don't want to lock in stuff early because I want to wait and see if we get Cleveland out, if we get some news moving forward. If you guys have any questions in the chat, pop them in there. We got 2 minutes to lock. Just double checking that I have everything in the right spots. If you're not in a couple of the contests, there's some overlay tonight. Just double checking I don't have any of my 5:30 guys in the first lock. I don't think I do, but just making sure. Nope, I'm good. Checking in on the lobby here. If you're not in the 333, there's still 10 spots left. The $18 got 100 spots left. I think the qualifier filled, Kurt. That's good.
I didn't get into that. I ran that I just maxed out the 33. I like the 33 today.
Yeah, I'm playing that too.
That's what I do. Well, you're going down, buddy. How about that?
If you had a ticket to that 333, they're not going to run it again. So get in there. All right, let's go to the next tier here, Kurt. Let's do 6K to 7,900. I think it's an interesting kind of band of pricing today. I think it's worse than it was yesterday, but still pretty good. Obviously, renew the core piece there, but I think that the right around 7K is really, really strong on the slate, kind of highlighted by Estrada and Jordan Wright. What do you think?
So renew's a lock for me. I think Cam Jones will be my favorite low-owned play down there. DePaul's shitty. Just let Cam Jones go off and make like 10 threes. He's got 2 quick ones. Well, not 2 quick ones. He stayed in the game, but still battle with fouls. I think if he plays that 29, 30 minutes here, I think he does surpass 30, which is a good 5X for you. I'm starting from the bottom. Kentucky big, Onesino. Seems like he has a great Onienzo. I personally am playing the game where I pivot off to one of his backups and hopefully that gets in foul trouble. I'll be playing that. If you're dead, that's another good pivot to bring up. If you're dead early, I think one of the backup UK bigs, more likely Ivasic over Bradshaw, but one of the two. If you pivot to them, and this guy gets in foul trouble if they run too big, they have massive, massive ceiling. So if you're dead, there's a good pivot for you. Mangin and Lawrence are going to project well. I feel like their floor is decent against UGA. I'm gonna find one good. My third favorite, I guess it would be in this 7.9K range. Jaden Epps is cheating.
Your top 2? Where are your top 2 there?
I went low, so I went down to Onienzo and Cam Jones. I went to low. I know who your 7K guy is going to be, so I'm not going to say it. And then I have Jaden Epps in my core, which is obvious, but I got to find one more for the people. You know what? I'll give a sneaky one. Bryce Williams against Indiana. No one's going to play him. It's on the road. Indiana's freaking backcourt couldn't guard me because I'm a freaking flamethrower. But I can see Bryce Williams bouncing back here, especially if Tominaga is not making shots.
I do not love that play. Who I do love, obviously Estrada. Gavin's making fun of you trying to pronounce Onienzo.
Onienzo. I mean, they've been rotating big. It's did I get Ivasic right? Ivasic, yeah. Ivasic, something like that.
See, that's the one I should know.
So, that's a foreign one.
I like the LSU guys a lot. I think Jalen Cook's going to miss this game. Actually, let me update projections here. Let me see if Cappy has updated Miami with the news. Well, with the Cleveland stuff. No, not yet. We did just get the news that right sale is officially out. So we were a couple hours ahead of that, which is nice. Let me ask him if he's updated. Let me pull up Miami because I'll just be able to tell on the minutes here.
Miami up there.
Yeah,
So this has not been updated yet because we don't have it official, but we're going to bump Joe Bet here to like low 20s minutes. Omir, Joseph, George, and Wooga are all going to be like 36. So interesting spot there. So I think that what were we on? We're on 6 to 8K. So yeah, so my two favorites are clearly Estrada and Jordan right there. My third, let me look at the pricing band again. I'm going to go with Onyenso. So I have to go back to him. He got me my first seat. I was dead in the water.
Oh my God, yes.
That was the 10 block game. He had 10 blocks again 2 games ago. Played a bunch of minutes. The minutes are not sticky at that 36 that he played last game. Let me see what we have him for here. The projections. We've got I don't want Duke. Oh, well, it's got both. We've got him for 30 minutes and 4.7x, which is probably a bit hot. I think a lot of the times he plays like 25 minutes here, Kurt, but I think at 6'2", he can crush at 25 minutes. I think we are higher than most on him. So I've got Onyenso on one of my 3 lineups here tonight, Kurt. I do like him also. Like we've been saying, he fills a forward spot, which is huge.
Yeah.
So wait, Cap's asking me if I want Ace. Ace already locked. So let me check lineups, see if we have any lineups yet for 7 p.m. games. Nothing official. All right, let's go down to the next band.
Can I ask you one question?
Yeah, go for
it. So you said you like the LSU guys. I feel like this is more of a pivot type of play, but Will Baker, I don't know what to do with him.
I don't know what to do with Baker. I really
let's say you want to play right, but you don't have enough in your junior.
I really like right. I really like Hannibal.
Hannibal's too exciting. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like he doesn't have his. No, I love his floor. If he doesn't foul, I love his floor. Great floor. I just question his season.
So we're assuming that Jalen Cook is out.
Yeah, so even with that, I think that protects his floor.
That would be Hannibal playing 30, 32 minutes, 33 minutes, something like that.
He had a really net scoring game. I mean, he's only 59, I guess, but
yeah, I like it. I want to go back before we go to the next tier on Miami. So how much Bensley Joseph are you playing? He's coming off the huge game, or are you just going to take the cheap and the expensive guys? We haven't talked about Wooga at all. He's kind of fucked us all year in spots that he should crush. He's played 34 minutes in like 4 straight games, but he's been kind of quarter standing more than usual lately. Kind of scares me.
No, I can see him definitely having a nut scoring game here, but I think the others can get it like peripheral. So I'm not getting the popular, but I'd be surprised if he dropped 30 roll tonight. No, not really. And let me see how much Joseph I have. Okay, actually, I thought I had a little bit, but I went none. So I'm guessing I mostly have Omir, the cheap starter, and then, like I said, I have 100% George. I locked 2 guys today. It was George and Malik.
We just got news from Nate Oates. Sorry to cut you off. Jaron Stevenson's going to start.
Boom! Let's go. Come on, baby. Come on, one fucking time.
And it looks like Matt Cleveland is warming up.
Oh boy!
So
this is not.
We don't have anything official yet there on on Cleveland. If Cleveland plays, I like all the Miami guys a bit less. I think they're still good plays. They're just not like jam plays.
The cheap guys aren't in play at all, so I have to come up with a. Where do you get off this?
A good call on Stevenson starting. That's what we had in the playbook, based on what you said. So that's sweet. All right, checking for some more news here before we get lineups. Bunch of good games early. Like usually, I'm not locking this much in the first window. Let me back off the player projections here. So we have Omir still for 4.9x highest on the slate. He's got some foul risk guarding Filipowski and Mitchell and those guys. I think he's still a good play. He's just not not jamming him in like 2 of 3 like I was before. So yeah, I think Stevenson's a good play, not a must play. And then that Joe Bet guy is probably he is dead if Cleveland plays. So
yeah, we'll know when we get started. So I got to be ready to swap. Holy shit!
Yeah, I will let you know once the lineups start popping up. If you guys have any questions in chat, fire them in there.
I'm still keeping 100% George with that. Like I said, sorry.
Yeah, I think George is a good play. I don't think he's a elite play.
He's a stone cold.
Speaking of that range, though, let's do the 4 to 6K range real quick. I'll let you go first. Who do you like best there?
Well, we know I like George. I don't care if freaking Michael Jordan was playing. George is a god. As long as he doesn't foul, I think he can get a good floor there. I guess I make the question about the ceiling. I guess I could kind of question the ceiling with Cleveland there. I'm a little bit more worried about the ceiling with Cleveland playing less than the floor. And then Keller's like a lock. Let me see if I have anyone like really dusty and random in that range. I told you about the UK bigs. If I have someone that dusted me.
Yeah, so the 4 to 6K range. What about – so we haven't talked about Kentucky too much. So let's talk through Kentucky.
Oh, yeah, your boy. Yeah.
So Adu Thero.
Here's a good one. Okay.
The last 2 games without Trey Mitchell, he's played 32 and 33 minutes. Almost cored him here, Kurt. I think he's an elite play in that 5K range if you end up there. The reason I didn't is I don't like listing guys in that price range as cores because a lot of the times, and I think you do this too, like you'll come off that range if we get a cheap guy, right? And like having a guy there that you're trying to jam in isn't always best to have as a core because then like you can't get the true stars and scrubs lineup if news breaks. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Ace Baldwin's out hot, of course.
I thought you said he was out. I'm like, what?
No, he's out hot. Starting the game well.
So speaking of Theoro, I like playing him, and then if you have a guy from the 7 p.m. games fucked you, I like severely did. I think you swap off Theoro and get someone with a higher ceiling like Kugel. I think Theoro is the much better, safer play, but if you need to make up ground, you swap to Riley Kugel.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I don't love Kugel here, but I think that's fine.
Too risky. It's way too risky unless you have someone dead. I mean, you can't play that game with him. Just play Theoro if you have a safe lineup, and then only play Kugel if you need to make up ground only.
Yeah, I'm kind of having some trouble with my last couple of pieces here with this news. I had like a couple of builds that I really liked, and we had the Cleveland news go against us. We had the Proctor news go against us. So I am scrambling a bit here. We got lineups for Clemson and Georgia Tech. No surprises for these two. These freaking Tafara Gapare for Georgia
Oh, my
Tech.
God.
Do you remember him last?
Bro, get that guy out of here. Like, come on.
He sucked for us last Wednesday, like fouled when he got his first start and then crushed over the weekend on some ancillary slate. What a piece of shit.
Guy's a cock. I mean, that's Georgia Tech for you. That is literally Georgia Tech to a freaking T.
Yeah, it is. God,
we only have that one guy. We don't have Goggles there anymore, or the visor. What's his name? He coached at Memphis, too. Pasture. We only have Pasture there, and they're still cucking us.
Passner, yeah. I'm 200 short of the freaking lineup I want to play. This is so tilted.
I'm going to have to mass swap to Sean Jones if Cleveland plays, and I'll have to just deal with it and fix my lineups later. That's the only thing, because I don't know how to work the swap feature on Saber because I'm a dumb fuck. So, yeah, Sean Jones, injured Sean Jones. So that way I know it has the out symbol by it, so I can go and edit all the lineups that have him in there.
Yeah, we got 20 minutes to lock here. I want to stay on until we have the lineups. Kurt, I know we got some late news yesterday, but I'm in a better spot than I was yesterday as far as checking stuff. We just got the official that Proctor's in. So that is official there.
Bro, first of all, I kind of give a shout out. I know they're not watching and don't give a shit, but like I don't know how the NBA guys do this every night. It is tough. Even for when we only did, I think I did 5 teams yesterday. I didn't even max yesterday. I don't know how you do it. Like, it's insane. Yeah, Cap, thank you. It's tough. I swear. Saber giveth and it taketh. Some beautiful things about it though, but
yeah,
really got
man, I am really struggling with these last few spots here. Why don't we talk through? I wish that we could get a lineup so we could talk about one of them.
yeah. Why?
So let's Captain scores up. So he's got Zion pulling. He's got Estrada in there, O'Meara, and Trey Hannibal. So I really like at least three of those plays there. I like Estrada. I like Hannibal. I like O'Meara. Not in love with pulling, but I get to play in the monster game total there.
I like Hannibal so much more on FanDuel. I know no one gives a shit. Don't freaking mute me for saying that.
I might have to.
Oh shit!
I'm just like refreshing this Duke Miami page to see if we get lineups because I had.
Can I read? I'm sorry.
I had something that I really really liked if Cleveland was going to be out. What are you saying?
No, I don't want to get canceled. I'm just going to read my FanDuel lineup because it's literally so sexy, and you'll never believe who I can get in there. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that.
Okay, while you're doing it, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Griffin, I'm not going to list one guy. That way you're not cheating. Rylan Griffin, Devin Carter, Mark Sears, Keyshawn George, Jordan Wright, Anienzo, and Hannibal. That's the fucking stones. Just the absolute stones. You could literally play me in the last spot for 6,500. I don't care.
You can play Kurt Jones instead of Sean Jones.
I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna give you 2, 3, and 2. I'm gonna get you that. I promise you, I'll get you that. Just from the cardio alone, and I'll put a scrub on me, like a little white guy. I won't be able to guard him for shit, but I'll get you 2, 3, and 2.
Wavy Jones in the chat is asking Stevenson over Deloach. Yes. What about for you, Stevenson or Enza? Are you playing any Enza with the Stevenson?
Yes.
All right. So pause. We got to stop the show here.
Okay.
We just got the Miami lineup. Does not have Cleveland in it.
Yes, thank God. Oh my God. He can still play, but that's just Matt. Who's starting?
It's Bensley, Joseph, Wooga Poplar, Keyshawn George, Paul Jobit, and Norchad O'Meara. So this is the lineup that we were talking about 20 minutes ago that allows you to play 2 to 3 Miami here. I'm really glad because I was pivoting around stuff and I could not find anything I loved.
That's so massive.
So O'Meara gets a huge bump. George gets a huge bump. And Jobit, obviously, at 3.3 is a decent play there. If you're a real sicko, Kurt, which I know you are.
I am.
How about the Stevenson, Keller, Jobit lineups?
Woo, baby doll. Miami's the minimum one now, probably 2. Yeah, I agree, Gavin. Definitely.
What Gav say?
You got Miami's a minimum 2 now, probably.
Yeah, I'm gonna change my core up actually. Actually, no, I'm not going to because I think those are all core plays. All right, but yeah, my third lineup's going to be all those cheap guys, and then pick your spends. Yeah, seeing Cleveland stopped warming up and left the court.
Yes,
so Cleveland's going to be out.
Hope he feels better. Actually, you know what? Screw that guy for leaving Florida State. Eat shit, Cleveland. Even though
I hope he feels better.
Yeah, I like his game.
On Friday. I hope he feels better in time that we have the news before their next game.
Yes, they've been good about their. They've been good. I feel like they've been good about their stuff, though.
Yeah. All right. So just so I don't do the same thing I did yesterday. So did I tell you, Kurt? I accidentally locked Post in utility. I think it's the first time I've done it all season, just because I was playing around and I thought that he was a later game. So that when
the worst.
Yeah, I felt like such an idiot too. Gavin, what are you talking about here? Literally what you have, chill out. Oh, the all the punts. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna send this to you in Discord. Let me know if this is one of your 3, so I don't play the same lineup as you. All right. So, any last questions in chat based on the news? I think we went through most everything that we have here. I'm sorry, I'm getting. This happens every day. Evan Silva texted me 10 minutes before lock. He's like, "Are you betting anything today?" No shit. Yeah, got a million bets. All right, let me send them what I have. Go ahead and talk for a couple minutes, Kurt. Last thoughts before we go through the last couple lineups here.
God, I'm about to have way too much freaking Samuel. Oh boy, this is tough. I can't decide what is Nelson. So, Chad, do we think Nelson's going to foul today?
Do we think he's going to foul? He fouls most games, so.
God, but oh my God, if he doesn't though, like he could literally chuck. Should I go overweight on Anienzo or Samuel? Sally doesn't matter.
What was that?
Should I go overweight on Anienzo or Samuel?
I like Anienzo a lot for the tournament.
So, oh God, but I don't know where to upgrade. We got too much money on the table now.
Blarney's got a good question here. Stevenson or Jobet, higher ceiling, higher floor? I think Jobet's got the higher floor for sure.
I think Stevenson because you need that forward spot.
I think 1 versus 1. I think that's interesting. I think on the floor versus ceiling, I think Jobet's safer just because they have less bodies, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Stevenson, they could definitely just play any of these dudes, right? So I think he's safer. All right, I've got my 3 lineups locked in. Let me double check. Starters for the last couple of games here. It is weird that we just got starters for. So if you're in Discord, I'm popping these lineups in the NCAA Discord like I always do when we get starters. Oklahoma State is starting Jamiron Keller again. Just solidifies him as a lock for a main. Since he's starting Bendigo again, we didn't talk about much Cincy. I think it's Skillings or the big man for me, and only if I'm playing a bunch of lineups. Fine with Bensley George, yes.
God, I wish. I mean, these Miami guys not being freaking forward eligible is extremely tilting.
I know, so that happened to me with George on Saturday because he's like 6'7", 6'8", and he's not forward eligible. So I don't know.
Gosh,
it is annoying though.
All right, so
we don't have Bama lineups yet. We don't have Georgetown lineups yet.
I've forced in Filipowski or take Oso and run the lineup that I like and already have in. I can't get up.
I'm not playing any Marquette.
I can't find the $100. Jesus Christ, the 200. I want to play. Oh, this is tough.
Yeah, that lineup you just sent me is so sick.
Is it studs, duds?
I'll send it to you in Discord. What do you think? That's how he plays.
You send it?
I just did.
Oh, God, this is going to be a treat.
Captain's going to push a quick update to the Miami minutes.
My God, that looks like my FanDuel lineup. Who gets the Miami bar? Keyshawn, George, O'Meara, Poplar, Joseph, in that order probably. And then the cheapies, Paul Dojabit, the starter. Mangun. Renault or Anienzo?
There's the official Bama 5 from their Twitter account. Sears, Estrada, Griffin, Stevenson, Nelson. Hasn't popped yet on Stat Broadcast, but that's what they've got there. So Kurt, let's talk about swaps for later. We talked about the 7 p.m. guys. I put a couple spots in the playbook. Do you have any last thoughts on like swaps for later if you're down early? These are, let's say the games are Georgia Vandy, Nebraska IU, Kentucky LSU, Ole Miss Miss State, and DePaul Marquette. Actually, let's do this last 3 games. So the Kentucky LSU game, the DePaul Marquette game, and the Ole Miss game. We didn't talk much about Marquette. I think Like Ben Gold and Chase Ross are interesting. I don't love the spends there. But
No, now
games.
They kept Cam Jones in a couple blowouts and random spots. So, like, I don't know. I think it's probably Cam Jones. Like, you're right. It's Cam Jones or the scrubs. And then you got to have Cam Jones make his shots early. DePaul is an absolute shit show. We already talked about Xavier. So we talked about swaps for UK LSU, about swapping on to like – oh, wait. Oh, shit. I messed up the Bama game. I was talking about swapping on the Kugel, but we don't have him late, do we? We have him 7.
No.
Oh.
We just got official lineups for Florida Bama. It's Pullen, Clayton, Richard, Samuel, Hanlogton. So no surprises there. And we already had the
Shout out Marshall.
So no surprises. The only game we don't have is the Georgetown game, which I don't have any players from. So I don't really give a fuck. Anything in chat? Mangone asks who gets the Miami bumps. So Mangone, I think the biggest bump is to Omir. I think he's an awesome spend, borderline core play. Kaishan George, awesome play in the 5K range. And then the cheap guy, Joe Bet at 3.3 is going to project well too. Let me double check and see if Cap has updated the projections with the new minutes for Miami. If it'll load. He has. So now we've got Omir and George as like elite 5X plays here. Let me pull up the rest of Miami. I'm pretty sure Joe Bet's going to be right around 4K. So yeah, here's based on price. So yeah, I think you can play 2 to 3 Miami here. Bensley Joseph off the good game. I'd like him a bit less than the other 3, but they're all awesome plays. Alex Miller says Renew or Onyenso.
That was a tough one. I'm going Renew, but it's close.
So I'm going to go into the slate with Renew. That's a later lock. And if I have any busts, I think going to Onyenso from Renew, I think, we were just talking about swaps, right, Kurt? I think that's a really good one. A really interesting one is going from Renew to Onyenso if you're down. I think Onyenso is an awesome tournament play here. All right, last couple questions. Gav says Bama starting season with the 5 tells me I'm going to try to play big. Yeah, agreed. I'm going to check Discord. Miami's updated projections just said that. Zach Hicks is out hot. God damn it.
Projections gave me some. I'll take it.
I didn't end up on any of the Vandy guys. I think those are decent plays. We didn't talk about them much. Just like there's so many good guard plays that I'm not in love with Vandy. So yeah, we've got all the lineups. Kurt, any last thoughts before we hop off?
I did a lot of swapping. I don't know who I swapped to, but a lot of good plays tonight. Good luck, everybody. Stevenson or NZ. I actually just had that leg bump. I just made that decision. I went Stevenson. I left money on the table to swap later. That was tough for me. Steve, which one would you do?
I think you just take the guy who you know starting now.
Yeah.
And we were talking about with NZ, like if you're down, you can always swap to him and get up to a stud later.
So that was my issue exactly. I was like, okay, well, let's talk worst case. What if NZ doesn't start? I couldn't find anyone I felt could get me even 9 confidently. So I chose to just go Stevenson.
Yeah, that Renew spot, man, he's going to be so owned. I think that is a great call, whoever had that in the chat. If you have a bust, if you have fouls early, that 8:30 Renew spot, you just move right to Onyenso.
Let's say this, Steve.
Renew's going to be like 70% owned, and Onyenso, we are higher on than most, and he's got huge upside. Won my first seat with him, getting 10 bucks. So,
no, let's say this. I feel like most people will have both. So let's say you have both, but you had a bust. Would you swap off Renew for like a Will Baker if you had both? Had a big
I think
bust.
that's fine. I don't love it though. We just got the last lineup here. Georgetown starting. They're starting Brumbaugh at 4.8. I actually took him out of the playbook late. I think he's okay at 4.8 if he gets stuck there.
I've watched him. I keep getting stuck there.
St. John's is starting Dingle, Dennis Jenkins, Ledlam, Soriano, and Glenn Taylor. So
Glenn Taylor
there. I think we're not playing Glenn Taylor.
No, we're not playing.
Reasonable. I think Soriano is reasonable, but man, like I would feel like an idiot if I played a St. John's guy here and he just plays like a 12-man rotation or benches the guys early or some bullshit like that, you know. So, all right. So just as a last thing, the guys that I'm 3 of 3 on are Keller, Oduro, Renew, and that's it. So those are the only guys that I have on all 3 lineups. Oh no, and Jobit. I have Jobit on all 3. Just taking the.
How many minutes do you think Robinson?
No, wait. I have either Jobit or Stevenson on all 3.
How much do you think Robinson plays behind Jobit?
I think it's probably like 25, 15, something like that. But, you know, it's kind of guesswork. Hicks is smashing. Damn it. Love that guy. He's got 3 stocks, 5 boards. All right. Let's get out of here and watch the games. I'll be in Discord all night posting lineups, news, answering questions and stuff. We got a 2-game night slate that's got our New Mexico team on it that we love. So we'll be playing that. And, yeah, we'll be back Saturday for a show. We'll wake Gavin up at 6 a.m. again, get him on with us for Saturday. Thanks, Kurt. And thanks for everyone in chat for hanging out these 2 days. We had some pretty good viewership for college hoops. So we got NBA back tomorrow, back to the normal up to lock shows. And yeah, all right. We will see you in Discord. Kurt, we'll be chatting all night. See ya.
Later.